Imagine you're an animal, a big one, a fast one. You have claws, you have fangs, you can run faster than anything in this video. And in the distance, you see it, a skinny, hairless, two-legged creature. No claws, no fangs. It can't climb as well as a monkey. It can't run as fast as you. It looks, frankly, ridiculous. And it is the single most terrifying thing on the entire planet. Because that creature is an ancient human. And once it decides to hunt you, you are already dead. You just don't know it yet. Today we're going to talk about why our ancestors were nightmares with legs. Why every other animal on Earth had a reason to be scared of us. And why the secret to our terror wasn't strength or speed or teeth, but something far, far creepier. Let's get into it. Let's be honest about something first. On paper, ancient humans were pathetic. Strength. A chimpanzee, which is smaller than us, is somewhere around 1.5 times stronger pound for pound. A gorilla could throw an ancient human like a stuffed toy. Speed. The fastest human who has ever lived tops out at about 28 miles an hour for a few seconds. A lion hits 50. A cheetah hits 70. Even a hungry hyena will leave you in the dust over a short sprint. Claws. We have fingernails. Adorable little fingernails. Good for opening packages, useless for combat. Fangs. Flat. Boring. We have the dental weaponry of a nervous accountant. Armor. We're naked. We don't even have fur. A newborn antelope can stand up and run within an hour of being born. A newborn human can't even hold up its own head. We are born helpless. We stay weak for years, and we go through our entire lives without a single natural weapon attached to our bodies. So how did this soft, slow, fragile little creature become the apex predator of planet Earth? How did we go from prey to the thing that other predators have nightmares about? The answer is one word, and it's going to sound boring at first. Sweat. Yeah, I know. Stay with me. Because sweat is about to become the most terrifying superpower in the history of life on Earth. Here's the thing, almost nobody tells you about animals. Most of them can't get rid of heat. When a dog runs, it can't sweat through its skin like we do. It pants. Big cats pant. Most furry animals cool themselves by breathing hard, and there's a limit to how much that works. When they run hard for too long, their body temperature climbs and climbs, and if it climbs too far, they overheat. They have to stop. They have to lie down in the shade and cool off, or they die. Now, look at the ancient human. We have millions of sweat glands across almost our entire body. We lost our thick fur, and yes, that made us look ridiculous, but it also turned our skin into a giant radiator. When an ancient human ran, the sweat evaporated off their bare skin and pulled the heat away with it. We could dump heat faster than almost any large animal on the planet. We've also got these long, springy legs and a tendon in the back of the heel, the Achilles tendon, that stores and releases energy with every single step, like a spring. We've got tiny adjustments in the inner ear that keep our head steady while we run. We've got the ability to breathe in a steady rhythm that isn't locked to our footsteps the way it is in four-legged animals. Put it all together and you get a machine built for one thing. Not sprinting, not strength, endurance. The ability to keep moving at a steady pace for hours, and hours, and hours. Almost no other large animal on Earth can do this, and our ancestors figured out how to weaponize it. They invented a hunting method so simple, so patient, and so absolutely relentless that scientists gave it a name that sounds like a horror movie. Persistence hunting. Let me paint you the picture. And I want you to imagine you're the animal again. It's the middle of the day in the heat on the open savanna. You're a big, fast antelope. You're grazing. And you notice, way off in the distance, one of those skinny two-legged things slowly walking toward you. You're not worried. You can outrun that thing instantly. So when it gets close, you bolt. You explode across the plain at full speed, easily leaving it behind. You run for maybe a minute, then you slow down because you're a sprinter, not a marathon runner. You look back. It's still coming. Same slow walk-jog. Not fast, just coming. So you run again, and again you leave it behind. And again you stop to rest in the heat, panting, dumping heat the only way you can. And again, a few minutes later, it's still coming. This is the trap. The human can't catch you in a sprint, but the human doesn't need to. The human just needs to never stop. Every time you sprint, you build up heat you can't get rid of fast enough. Every time you stop to cool down, the human closes the distance again and forces you to run before you've fully recovered. Hour 1. You're tired, but fine. Hour 2. You're staggering. Your legs are shaking. The heat inside you has nowhere to go. Hour 3. You can't run anymore. You physically cannot lift your own body into another sprint. You collapse in the dirt, overheated, helpless. And the human calm, barely even out of breath, walks up to you. That's it. That's the kill. No claws, no fangs, no great burst of speed. Just a creature that would not, could not stop coming. Now think about how that feels if you're the prey. It's not a fight. A fight you might win. This is something worse. This is being followed by something that is calm while you panic. Something patient while you exhaust yourself. Something that treats your fastest sprint like a minor inconvenience and just keeps walking. That's not a predator. That's a horror movie villain. I want to really sit on this because this is the part that makes ancient humans genuinely unsettling. Most predators are scary because of a single terrifying moment. The pounce, the bite, the claw. It's fast, it's violent, and then it's over. If you survive the first 3 seconds, you usually live. Humans were the opposite. Humans were scary over time. A lion gives up if the chase takes too long. A cheetah gives up almost immediately if the first sprint fails. Almost every predator on Earth has a built-in "this isn't worth it" switch. They run the numbers, how many calories will this chase cost me versus how many I'll get. And if the chase drags on, they quit and look for an easier meal. Ancient humans didn't quit. Ancient humans would track a single animal across miles of open ground for half a day. Which means there's a second weapon hiding inside persistence hunting that's just as important as the sweat. The human brain. To chase an animal for hours, you have to be able to follow it even when you can't see it. You have to read the ground, a bent blade of grass, a scuffed bit of dirt, a single hoof print pointing the wrong way. Skilled trackers can look at marks on the earth and reconstruct exactly which animal passed, how big it was, how long ago, and which way it was heading. And then predict where it's going next. This is detective work. This is reading a story written in dirt. And our ancestors were so good at it that even when their prey vanished over a ridge, the humans knew exactly where to go. So now stack it all up. You're the prey. You're being hunted by something that can outlast you, physically outsmart you completely, find you even when you hide, and never, ever give up. There is no escape plan that works against that. You can't outrun it. It's built to outlast you. You can't hide from it. It can read your tracks. You can't wait it out. It won't quit. The only animals safe from ancient humans were the ones we hadn't gotten around to yet. Now here's the genuinely scary part. Everything I just described, the endurance, the tracking, the relentlessness, That's the version of us before tools really got going. Then we picked up rocks, sharp ones. We learned to smash stones together until they had a cutting edge, and suddenly that fingernails and flat teeth problem disappeared. Now we had claws and fangs. We just held them in our hands and could put them down when we were done. We made hand axes. We made scrapers. We sharpened sticks into spears. And there's one more body trick worth pausing on, because almost no other animal on Earth can do it. We can throw. Watch a chimpanzee try to throw something, and it's clumsy, weak, and wildly inaccurate. But the human shoulder arm and torso are built like a catapult. We can store energy and release it to hurl an object fast and on target. That means we could hurt or kill from a distance. Think about how terrifying that is if you're the prey. Every other danger in your world has to physically reach you to harm you. The claw, the bite, the lunge. But a human could stand far away, safe, out of reach, and still strike you down with a thrown rock or a hurled spear. We were the first animal that could attack you from somewhere you couldn't fight back. And then we did the thing that turned us from scary into unstoppable. We hunted in groups. One human is a problem. A coordinated group of humans who can plan, communicate, and work together, who can drive an animal toward a cliff or into a swamp or into a trap, who can throw sharpened spears from a safe distance, that's an extinction event with legs. And then we tamed the scariest force in nature: fire. For every other animal, fire means run. Fire is death, panic, flee. We were the one creature that walked toward the fire, picked it up, and carried it with us. We used it to scare off other predators, to drive whole herds of animals exactly where we wanted them, to see in the dark, and to turn raw food into cooked food that gave us more energy than any animal had ever gotten out of a meal before. Think about that from the outside. From every other animal's point of view, here comes this creature that controls the thing they fear most in the world. That alone should tell you everything about how the rest of nature saw us. Here's the part of the story that's a little dark. As ancient humans spread out of Africa and across the planet, something kept happening everywhere they arrived. The biggest animals started disappearing. Mammoths, mastodons, giant ground sloths the size of cars, enormous deer with antlers wider than a doorway, huge flightless birds. Across continent after continent, these giant animals, what scientists call megafauna, vanished, again and again, often not long after humans showed up in the neighborhood. Now, scientists still argue about exactly how much of this was us and how much was changing climate. It was probably a mix of both, and the details are different on every continent, but the pattern is hard to ignore. The arrival of a creature that could hunt anything, anywhere, that never stopped, that worked in teams and carried fire and weapons. And then, the biggest, most impressive animals start to disappear. We weren't just one more predator on the food chain. We were a force that rearranged the food chain. Animals that had ruled the earth for millions of years met us, and within a geological blink, many of them were gone. That is not normal. No single animal is supposed to do that. We did. So let's zoom out. Why does any of this matter beyond, wow, our ancestors were scary? Because the things that made us terrifying are the exact same things that made us human. The endurance that let us run prey to death came from bodies that lost their fur and stood up tall. The tracking that let us follow animals for hours came from brains that learned to read patterns, remember details, and predict the future. The teamwork that let us bring down giants came from the ability to communicate, to plan, to trust each other, and cooperate. The fire that terrified every other animal also cooked our food, which gave our brains the fuel to grow even bigger. In other words, we didn't become smart and social and then happen to become good hunters. It's more tangled than that. The pressure to survive, to find food, to outlast and outthink animals stronger and faster than us, that pressure helped shape the patient, clever, cooperative, slightly obsessive creature reading the world around it. The same relentlessness that made an antelope's life a nightmare is the relentlessness that much later would build pyramids, sail across oceans, and put footprints on the moon. We are a species that does not stop. That has always been our superpower and our curse. So the next time you feel weak or slow, or like you've got no special talents, remember what you actually are. You are the descendant of the scariest creature this planet has ever produced. A creature with no claws and no fangs that terrified everything that had them. A creature that other predators feared. A creature that the largest animals on Earth could not survive meeting. You come from monsters. Soft, hairless, sweaty, brilliant monsters. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. But here's the part that should really stop you in your tracks. We never actually gave up that crown. We are right now the most feared predator on the entire planet. And it isn't close. Think about how animals react to us. Walk into almost any wild place on Earth, and the animals flee. Deer bolt, birds scatter, big cats slink away into the bushes. It doesn't matter that you're unarmed, that you mean no harm, that you're just out for a walk. To them, the shape of a human, the sound of a human voice, the scent of a human, all of it screams danger. And that fear is earned. It's the inherited memory of every animal whose ancestors learned the hard way what happens when one of us decides to hunt. Scientists have actually tested this. They've played recordings out in the wild, the sounds of different predators, lions, wolves, dogs, and then the sound of human voices, just people calmly talking. And again, the animals react to the human voices with more fear than to the lions, more fear than to any other predator. Let that sink in. Out in nature, the scariest sound in the world is not a lion's roar. It's the sound of us, casually chatting. We are the predator that other predators are afraid of. And the reason isn't just that we kill. It's how much and how widely we kill. A lion hunts a handful of prey species in one stretch of land. We hunt everything, everywhere, on land, in the sea, in the air. No environment is off limits to us. No animal is too big, too fast, or too well defended. We are the only predator in the history of the planet that hunts across the entire globe, in every habitat, targeting every kind of animal. That's not a normal place in the food chain. That's something the world had never seen before and has never seen since. Now go back to that opening image one more time, but really feel it this time. You're the prey. Night has fallen. You're hiding, exhausted, your heart pounding. Certain you finally lost the thing that's been following you. And then, out in the dark, you hear it. Not a growl, not a roar, just quiet, calm sounds. Footsteps that don't hurry. A low voice. Maybe more than one. The patient, unbothered sounds of a creature that already knows how this ends. There's no animal alive that finds that comforting. Because every creature that ever shared the world with us learned the same lesson written into their instincts over countless generations. When the strange two-legged thing comes for you, calm and clever and never stopping, you do not win. You run and you hide and you hope it loses interest. Because fighting back is not an option. That is the legacy our ancestors built. Not with fangs or claws or muscle, but with patience, brains, fire, and each other. They turned a soft, slow, fragile little animal into the single most terrifying force the natural world has ever known. And the proof is still out there today, in every wild creature that takes one look at a human and runs. If this blew your mind even a little, do me a favor and smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more curious people like you. And subscribe, because next time we're answering a question that sounds simple, but gets weird fast. What did ancient humans actually do all day? A full day in the life of an ancient human, from the moment they woke up to the moment they fell asleep. Thanks for watching. And remember, you're tougher than you think. You were built that way.